He crashed in the sprint. He finished 17th in the race. He scored 0 points. And yet, Toprak Razgatlioglu walked away from his MotoGP debut weekend in Thailand with his head high, his honesty intact, and something quietly extraordinary buried inside the numbers that the raw results completely fail to show. This is the full story of the first Turkish rider in MotoGP history and his debut weekend in Buriram, the good, the bad, and everything in between. If MotoGP lives rent-free in your head, hit subscribe. We break down every race, every drama, and every championship twist before anyone else. Let's start with Saturday's sprint, because that is where the weekend produced its first dramatic moment. Running in 15th place with 3 laps to go, Toprak was sitting directly behind his PRAMAC Yamaha teammate Jack Miller, actually the second highest Yamaha rider on track at that point. With both Alex Rins and Fabio Quartararo sitting behind him, on pure pace, in his very first competitive MotoGP session, Toprak was ahead of 2 far more experienced Yamaha riders. And then came the crash, not a rider error, not a moment of overconfidence, but what Toprak himself confirmed was a technical problem with the engine brake. "I experienced a technical problem with the engine brake," he said directly after the session. "That's why the crash happened. From the beginning, I had a problem with the engine brake in the last corner. I felt the rear re-grip suddenly and I lost the front." He remounted and crossed the line in 20th place, 25.86 seconds behind sprint winner Pedro Acosta. The number looks ugly. The reason behind it matters enormously. There was also a technical detail that emerged from the Thailand weekend that had gone almost completely unnoticed. Toprak arrived at Buriram with something on his Yamaha that he had not been able to use during preseason testing. Rear seat aerodynamics. During testing, the rules state that seat aero cannot be positioned more than 150 mm higher than the seat base, and because Toprak sits so low on the M1, Yamaha were unable to homologate it for him. But by Thursday of race week, Yamaha's engineers found a solution and got the rear aero approved. The result is more rear downforce and improved stopping power, a meaningful upgrade for a rider whose biggest challenge has been front-end trust under braking. That it came together at the last moment before his debut race tells you something about how hard both Toprak and Yamaha are working to give him every possible advantage. Sunday's Grand Prix was 26 laps of brutal heat, rear grip degradation, and survival racing. And Toprak did survive all 26 laps, crossing the line in 17th place, 39.194 seconds behind race winner Marco Bezzecchi. Critically, he finished 1 place ahead of his teammate Jack Miller, who came home 18th. For a rider in his very first MotoGP Grand Prix, beating a veteran of the class who has raced at the highest level for years is not a footnote. It is a genuine data point. And the manner in which he described the race afterward told you everything about where his head is. He was not deflecting. He was not looking for excuses. He was as direct and honest as he always is. "It was my first full race in MotoGP, and of course I was hoping for a better result. But it was a long and very demanding race. 26 laps in that kind of heat is physically tough. We had some clear issues with rear grip, especially as the race went on. But I'm not looking to put the blame anywhere else. I know I still have a lot to learn, and at the same time we know Yamaha is working hard to improve the package." Grip was quite limited throughout the race, and it seemed to be a common situation for all Yamaha riders as we were running close together. Now we focus on the next race. I know I will give my best, and I know the whole team will do the same. That last sentence is the one that matters most. No drama, no finger pointing, just focus. And the race's analysis of the sprint specifically was the most generous and most accurate verdict of the entire weekend. Their expert noted that Toprak's pace before the crash was absolutely unimpeachable, pointing out that his engine brake issue had been causing problems from lap 1, and that the crash itself was a consequence of a technical fault rather than a riding mistake. Before that, though, he had been running 15th, 1 place and half a second behind the lead Yamaha of Jack Miller, the analysis read. This was, to be clear, an absolutely unimpeachable level of pace by Razgatlioglu. The race's verdict concluded that for a debut weekend on the worst bike in the field, at one of the hottest and most physically demanding circuits on the part calendar, Toprak's performance was convincing. Yamaha team manager Gino Borsoi offered his own measured but genuinely positive assessment after the race, pointing to the sprint pace as the real indicator of where Toprak and the Yamaha V4 actually stand when the conditions allow. He noted that the rear grip degradation that hurt Toprak throughout the Grand Prix was a shared problem across all 4 Yamaha riders, not something specific to Toprak's setup or his riding style, and that the data collected over the weekend would feed directly into Yamaha's ongoing development of the M1, that is the broader context sitting underneath the 17th place finish. Every lap Toprak completes in race conditions is information that Yamaha's engineers cannot generate in a simulator or a test session, and his feedback is central to what the 2027 machine becomes. Then there was the tuktuk, and if you have not seen this already, stop everything and go find it. In a tradition unique to the Thailand GP, riders team up with their teammate for a single tuktuk lap of the circuit on Sunday morning. Toprak and Jack Miller got into theirs and proceeded to give the Buriram crowd one of the most entertaining moments the Thailand GP has seen in years, pulling wheelies, cornering on 2 wheels, and absolutely refusing to take any of it seriously. They won the tuktuk race, and Toprak was still smiling about it hours after the Grand Prix itself had finished. I'm very happy Jack is also crazy, so we really enjoyed it. Before the start, we spoke about if we can make a wheelie. Finally, we did. That's incredible! Crash.net even ran a headline calling it Toprak Razgatlioglu takes first MotoGP win in a tuk-tuk. The man scored 0 championship points on Sunday and still managed to be one of the most talked about riders on the entire grid. So what does this weekend actually mean for the bigger picture? Toprak left Thailand with 0 points, the same as Marc Marquez, who retired with a tyre failure, and the same as Francesco Bagnaia, who qualified 13th and struggled throughout. But unlike either of those riders, 0 points from Thailand was exactly what Yamaha and Toprak had planned for. He is a rookie on the least competitive bike in the field, riding machinery that does not yet play to his natural strengths, at a circuit that physically destroyed rear tires across the entire field in 5-degree asphalt temperatures. The fact that he completed the race distance, finished ahead of his experienced teammate, crashed only because of a technical fault rather than a rider error, and carried himself throughout the whole weekend with the kind of composure and honesty that already has the paddock talking about him in genuinely admiring terms, that is not a bad weekend. That is the first chapter of a story that is still being written. He heads to Brazil on March 22nd, knowing exactly what needs to improve. The rear grip issue is a Yamaha-wide problem that the engineers are working on. The engine brake map needs refinement. And the trust in the front Michelin tire, the thing he identified in pre-season testing as his central challenge, still needs to be built, lap by lap, race by race, until it becomes instinct. His own analogy is the best one available. When I started in Superbike, I felt the same way. Now I feel like I am starting over, just like I did in Superbike. Whatever it is, I hope I can quickly return to the front position. He went to Superbike as an unknown and left it as a 3-time champion. The script is not yet written for MotoGP. What do you think? Are you encouraged by Toprak's debut, or were you hoping for more? Is the Yamaha V4 just too far off the pace for him to show his real potential this season? And do you think we see him score his first championship points in Brazil? Drop your predictions in the comments. And if you enjoyed this breakdown, smash that like button and subscribe for more MotoGP news. I'll catch you in the next one.